Good morning, friends. It's very hot out there, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I think today it's going to go over 100, right? Well, if not in the 90s. So stay cool. Today would be my last talk for this year. So hopefully, I'm hoping to get through the material that I prepared for actually starting from the beginning of this year, around March. I have been talking on the topic, which is the second noble truth, cause for suffering. And we were staying on craving for quite a bit. So craving is actually the bad guy as far as for what brings us here, going through birth, sickness, and death. Because without craving, we won't be here. Just a little bit review on what we were last time. So what happened is, why do we crave? Because we put so much importance on this capital I. Everything is about I, this person. Last time, we kind of break it down a little bit. Excuse me. What is this so-called I? Actually, it can be divided into two parts: the physical part and the mental part. And when we talk about the mental part, we usually point to our head. That's our mental part. In fact, the mental part is where our awareness is on this body. Some people will call it my heart. Some people will call it my brain. But actually, this mental part is a function to process 4 steps or 4 kind of process. So we went through part of the physical form. So what is this physical form? Consists of, there are 4 elements. And we can, if we don't, right now, because, we have about half an hour time, if we don't comprehend that 4 elements, we can always go home and maybe just look into it a little bit. So the 4 elements are the earth, which are muscles, bones, internal organs, eye, physical form, my hair, fingernail, earth element, okay? And what makes this body function? We need this earth element to be the foundation or support. So that's one of them. And then the second one that we went through, if I believe I remember correctly, it's what we call the water element. Its function is to put things together, cohesion. So it kind of makes, adhesiveness. Its function is to make things together, like, our internal organs, without the cohesion, it won't be in place. Think about if you, we actually, you know, if we believe in other religion like God's mercy, that if God created this body, is actually, you know, very kind, because think about we have this skin and outer look. This is how, you know, our body looks like. If we turn it upside down or inside out, think about that. Without the skin, we just have all these organs hanging around outside. What would we look like? How would they function? So water element is not just the water that we understand, you know, on the river, what we drink is not just that. It's function. You know, it puts things together. So that's the cohesion. We went through that last time. So now we are coming to, I can find my page, fire, heat. So externally, we understand what fire is, right? If we put our fingers on that, it's going to burn. And, you know, recently there are wildfires everywhere. Maui, what happened there? So externally, we can see it, but that's very surface. The fire we have is actually internal and external, like our temperature is part of the fire element, the function of the fire element. It's got a very, something that we can actually mentally comprehend, but not seeing. For example, we have this piece of raw meat. It will be raw if we don't have the heat, right? So in a sense, the function of fire is maturing. So put things in from one state to another state. Rice, if we don't cook it, then it will be raw rice. So this is the function of the fire. Now, other than just cooking rice, it also, remember, its function is maturing, like getting old. We don't like the word old. We say we aged gracefully, right? So that is part of maturing. That is the function of fire element. And also, we can kind of test it. How about we get really angry? What happened? We say that the fire of hell is burning. When we get really angry, we can, you know, check our temperature. When we heat up, it's at least, you know, a little bit higher than normal. Our heartbeat will pound faster. So when we are on fire, then our mind will be very, very unsteady. Have we experienced that kind of experience? Like somebody really get, you know, talks some words that we don't like to hear. Then we got steam up. Then our first reaction is to either talk back, argue, or even act physically violently. I think everybody may experience this. You're driving a car nicely, smoothly, and somebody all of a sudden just cut in without even turning on their signal and almost hit you. Oh my goodness. That is the time for the function of the fire to steam up. So, do we have a solution for that? Well, everybody get different solutions. Now, for my experience, I'm sitting, somebody was driving, and that somebody is my husband. He was driving, so mad about people cutting in front of him, and he starts steaming up and don't even put his hands on the wheel. And what do I do? How do I react to that situation? Before I learn how to train the mind, I would just yell at him and say, what are you doing? We almost got killed. So that's my first reaction. But with the training, just take a couple deep breaths and be careful. That's it. So I'm controlling my fire element to the level that I can stand it. And so that I won't burn myself and I won't burn him. So that is, one of my experience to share with you. Another function of the fire element is to digest food. When we eat something, it goes through our tongue, our throat, to our, stomach. So by digesting, we need something to make it going. And that is the function of the fire elements. Now, externally, fire element, it's good because, the sun comes out in a cold day, it keeps us warm. But then when it goes to extensively, then, volcanoes, wildfire, those are we can see with our eyes. So that's about fire elements. Don't worry, we all have that. Because as long as we are still breathing, the fire element exists inside ourselves and it functions. Okay, I think I just go through that. And then it goes to wind. Wind is actually not the wind. Well, it is part of it, but it's not something. One question, can we see wind? Can we actually see wind? Think about that, okay? We see things moving, trees, and we know that that's wind blowing, because the trees are moving, right? The leaves are moving. And we are breathing. We breathe, we think that this is my breath. Actually, is the function of the wind element going. We actually cannot see it, smell it, taste it. You think that, I hear the wind. It's not. You hear the sound when the wind is functioning. Okay? So wind cannot be contact by our sense organs, but mentally, we know that. So it's through our chitta, our mind, our awareness, our consciousness. Okay? So when the function of wind or motion, I really like the word motion. Its function is to cause movements or motions, and it can be also described as vibrations or oscillations. It can be internal or external. External, we just mentioned, when we see the leaves are moving, when we hear some kind of sound, we know that, the wind, the motion is working. So when we move our arms, standing up, sitting down, all those motions are the function of the wind. Let's see. I think I got through all these. Now, so by now, I think I finished all the 4 elements. So you don't have to believe me. Okay? Like the Buddha said that, don't believe what I said. Don't believe what your teacher said. Don't believe what the scripture told you. Come and see for yourself. Come and experience yourself. So when we go out or go home, I don't know if you practice meditation every day, especially when we sit down on the cushion, close our eyes, relaxing the body, keep our attention to this part or whatever object of contemplation you have. Some will focus on 3 finger down the navel, which is one of the pressure point that you can actually feel that feel the breath coming in and going out. So all depends on your object of contemplation. We can do a test. When we sit for 50 minutes, fine. 20 minutes, okay. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then 1 hour, ouch. So you feel that some part of the body is being numb, stiff, pain. It's that at that time, at that specific part of the body, the earth element is function. When you feel pain, heaviness, discomfort, earth element is dominating at that part of the body at that time. When we feel, so nice, everything goes so smoothly, and I feel so light and enjoyable, then the element of motion or wind is dominating at that part of the body. So we can do a test at home when we're doing the meditation. All these 4 elements have a common, well, they function differently, we just mentioned, but they have a common characteristic. It's called arising, abiding, and ceasing. We call it anicca, anicca, anicca. Impermanent, 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 changing, changing, changing. That is the common and true characteristic of all four elements. That okay. So when everything, the four elements combine together, it also functions differently on each part of the body. For example, my eye with my lens, my redness, the eyeball, the physical form of this eye, when I come in contact to the external objects, it starts to give rise to something called the eye consciousness. Same thing for the ear, for the nose, for the tongue, and for the body. So four elements composing one of the physical part of this body is providing a certain function. My eye cannot hear. My ear cannot see. My nose can only smell. My tongue can only taste. My body can only touch. So they have separate functions. But all these, we have the eye consciousness, we have the ear consciousness, we have the nose, the tongue, the body consciousness. They have different functions differently, right? I just mentioned I can only see, but they also have a common function, is to cognize. When I see something, my eye come in contact with the external object, I can only cognize and say that I see something. But we don't know what that is if we only use the eye consciousness. So immediately, almost, I'm doing a slow motion and try to break things down part by part. Almost immediately, my eye consciousness will be co-functioning with our sixth consciousness, which consists of four processes. What are the four? Let me go to the contact. It's very important. Say, if I close my eyes, so I don't have any contact with this physical part to the external object, then my eye won't see anything. Okay, we all know that if we close our eyes. Now, this contact is external, okay? The sense doors are contacting the external objects. We later on will explain that also internal. Say, I fall asleep, or I'm in deep meditation. My eyes are closed, my body is not moving, my concentration is only on breathing, then I close all the door contact to the external objects or environment. So there is an internal contact. The internal contact is actually a consciousness that pull whatever stored it from a previous experience. So that's called internal. It's getting a little bit complicated. Okay, So just bear in mind, you know, the function of the 5 doors is to cognize. Then the 6th consciousness is going to take over the I consciousness immediately, almost at one time, at the same time. So the consciousness, 6th consciousness, or what we call the mind functioning, has taught 4 processes. When my eye come in contact with the external object, my eye consciousness arises. The 6th consciousness, or my mind, or my mental process, will start functioning when I see this. How do I feel? For example, if I touch this, how do I feel? Do I feel the hardness or softness? So that kind of feeling will arise. And with that, oh, I don't like it because it's unpleasant. It's too hot. Okay. Or when I smell something that stinks, I don't like it. It's unpleasant to my nose. Or taste something that's bitter. Somebody likes bitter, I don't know. I kind of like it sometimes. So all depends. So feeling arises after that. Then feeling arises, you know, whether this pleasant, unpleasant, or I don't care. It's neutral. Then the next one would be evaluation. Oh, this mouse shapes weird. I don't know. Okay. When I look at it, it gives me, you know, unpleasant feeling. So I don't like it. So evaluation starts. That's the perception. Discernment starts. Differentiation starts. Judgment starts. So that's the 2nd process. Then after that, when I decided whether I like it or not, then my mind would decide, what do I want to do? So when, or I like this very much, I'm going to take it home. Decision, mental decision is called relation. So that's start. So the next one would bring to when that relation, mental relation is that action, mental action. All our verbal or physical action comes from mental relation. So when we see somebody that, you know, he's my enemy for lives, when I see him or her, unpleasant feeling starts. See, contact, unpleasant feeling, make a decision, evaluation. This person is not good. He's my enemy. So what do I want to do? Should I slap him? Should I scold him? You know, so those are actually the process. And then the next one is called consciousness. Now, it's getting more and more complicated here. All depends on which school of thought. I pick the school of Yogacara. It's called mind only or mere consciousness. This school of thought tries to analyze how the mind works and at a certain point of time. So it divided the mind into 6, 7, and 8. It's called the 6th consciousness, the 7th, and the 8th. Take it back, 4, because the first 5 are what we just mentioned, and then the the sixth is actually who's in control. Because whatever, action, feeling, perception, and volition, it's all from the sixth consciousness. So they are okay. They're processing. They're functioning. As long as we train the mind, with meditation, we clear our mind, keep it clear, alert, sharpen it. So when we face any situation, externally or internally, we know how to handle it because we have a steady, clear, sharp, unscattered, focused mind. So all the decisions that we make in our daily life will be okay. So the consciousness is a bridge connecting whatever happening outside and whatever happening inside. But when we come to the seventh consciousness, all these can be trained, like, hatred, craving, even ignorance can be trained with a steady, sharp mind to make decisions. It's one that is so difficult. So difficult. We call it the seventh consciousness. It is this guy keep us going round and round and round and round in this cycle of rebirth, because we think this is something called the I. While as we know that the so-called I with a capital is only a composition of the mental process and the four elements. But this guy, the seventh consciousness, saying that no. There is actually something called this I or ego that exists permanently, unchanged, independently. So this seventh consciousness doesn't function or connect or react to the first 5 or 6 consciousness. It only clings to one thing as the 8th consciousness. What is this 8th consciousness? It's actually our experience previously and stored there. And 7th consciousness always cling to the 8th one, saying that, see, this is I, this is mine, because those are the experience that I have accumulated life after life after life after life. So there must be something that is not changing. So is it really something not changing? Let's come back to the 4 elements. If we meditate, we'll see that each single element changes constantly. We just don't pay attention to it without the trained mind. We always think that I'm 18 years old. I'm still looking good. I'm still functioning very well. See? Age gracefully, but I'm young at heart. Right? So we're thinking, we don't want to admit that this body has been here, utilized it by this person for 74 years. It's aging. It's deteriorating. But I don't want to admit it. Don't call me old, okay? So those are the mental perceptions that we don't want to face the fact very realistically. Another step further. Who will admit that death is just one breath away? I don't want to. I don't know about you. I mean, you know, you're saying that I'm dying the next minute? No way. I've got so many things to do. So we don't want to face the reality. Unfortunately, if we take in one inhale and that exhale doesn't come, sorry, adios amigo. No more this I exist. But the seventh consciousness won't agree. So, no. Even if I die, my body, you know, decomposed, this I still exists. Because I'm going to go to the next life, or going up or going down, going somewhere. It has to be somewhere that this I can go. And then another thing to test is close our eyes and watch our thoughts. One thought arises, abiding, ceasing. The process is like that. One thought arises, try to hold it. You find out that you cannot hold a thought. It's a split-second movement. It says that, you know, one thought is 1/16 of the speed. It's 1/16 of snapping a finger. That fast. So it's constantly up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Even faster than the Dow Jones. So then the seventh, I think my time is up, but let me finish one more thing. The seventh consciousness, why is it so bad? Because it's got 4 afflictions called delusion, self-view, self-conceit, and self-love. If you're interested, I think we can send down, you know, the slide if you're interested. Or a good suggestion, Google. How about Google that? And, you know, there are lots of information about how the mind or the seventh consciousness function. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings be liberated. Thank you very much.